to the Wally Show Aftercast. Stuff we didn't get to, blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure. I don't remember how it goes. But anyways, you'll notice that this is not Wally. It's Betty Rock. Wally is not here today.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
Surprising.
You probably thought, like, the rapture happened? What? No. The guy took a sick day. You heard me right.
Momentous.
We've got Chad here. Chad is our... What is your official title?
Oh.
Well, my official title is Senior Director of Ministry Innovation, but
That's cute.
I want you to you to call me Pastor Chad, though.
Yeah, PC is in
Gag.
here. He's our fill-in Enneagram 8 for the day.
Yes, and that's why I wanted Chad here, because I think we talked about this. Enneagrams. Wally is an 8, but when you see him outside of work, he turns into a 2. He is a huge helper.
Oh, yeah.
He loves helping people. But when he gets to work, he is an 8 all the way. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we were talking about this. The reason that I am shooketh to my core is because the 17 years that I have worked with the man, I can maybe think of one time that he took a sick day, and that was because he was at the hospital the night before for passing a kidney stone, okay? And even then, I think he would have been okay with them wheeling him in with a wheelchair and plugging him in with an IV. So here's what happened. I get up, go about my normal day. I get here at 5 a.m., pull into the parking lot, and I see Wally's truck. It's sitting there, and he's sitting inside of it. It's pitch black. He's got his windows rolled down, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, well, I don't feel good, Rock. I don't feel good. And I said, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'll see you in a few minutes. And I start walking towards the door, and he was like, no, I'm being honest, Rock. I don't feel good. I don't feel good. So he said honest, truthful, and he can't lie on honest, truthful, but I still had a hard time believing him. He said that he didn't want to come in case he was sick because Gavin, his wife, is having her C-section on Saturday, so Bennett will be here on Saturday, and he's taking some time off. And then we've got a support drive coming up next week. So if he is contagious, he doesn't want to get everybody sick. Once again, I am shooketh to my core because this is what I have been saying for 17 years. Don't come in coughing, gagging, and sneezing and getting us all sick because the man never wants to take a sick day.
Or in a fetal position on the floor.
He will do that. He will do that. Yes, he will pass kidney stones live on the air.
Blood pressure's going through the roof.
There have been times where we have done a break and he will say something and I can see the look in his eye and I know that he has got to put his head in a trash can and throw up because he's trying to pass a kidney stone. So I will have to start speaking up on whatever topic we're talking about so that he can pass a kidney stone. There's also where we had a
lot of people just do it at home, you know?
Yeah, I know. We had a horrible ice snowstorm that happened. Nobody was going to come in, okay? It was crazy. We have a steep, I say steep, it is. It's a steep driveway to get up to the station.
Yeah, you're not able to hit it. You're not able to hit it fast.
His little clown truck, he thinks, can get up that driveway and into the station. It took him 14 tries to get up that driveway, and he still did it. Came in, did the show. Explain to me as an 8, Chad, what does that mean? Why? Because you as an 8, you will take sick time. And I do believe, and I don't know why, maybe it's because he respects you. He sees you as someone who is strong and independent, whereas he doesn't see me that way. But I can tell him things over and over and over, and it goes in one ear and out the other. But you, I think it carries more of a distance. Why? I'm not sure. He has a horrible sense of judgment.
Well, this one, too, we've been working on for, we've been talking about the last 2 or 3 weeks about taking mental health days and those sort of things. And I know he vehemently disagrees with me on this.
To take a sick day as a mental health day. He doesn't see that as
So
sick.
I think one thing, too, is personality type. We are both 8s, but there's also a generational thing. We're not the same age. He's not a ton older than I am, but he is slightly older. And that does set a frame of thinking a little bit different outside of just personality. So frame of thinking, and I get where he's coming from because I have that slightly, but then I'm also been like, culture has pushed me another direction maybe as well, where he's just a hard worker and you just go to work, whether you're sick, whether you're hurt, no matter what, you just show up because that's what you do. Versus I'm like, and it's been probably different in my life. Maybe I've matured faster than he has in my age. I don't know. But I also read those memes like no one remembers you worked late except for your kids. And those really hit me hard because I'm like, yeah, my boss 10 years from now is not going to be like, man, Chad always worked late. What a great guy he was.
No, that's a good point.
They don't care.
Yeah.
And I also saw my dad pass away in his 50s and just get replaced. Like, when they replace you, when you're gone, you get replaced, they move on. We all think that our jobs and our companies will just crumble down around us when the second we die. It doesn't happen. We have a good friend who worked here who knew everybody's passwords. We thought the place was going to just fall to pieces when he left WayFM. Guess what?
We're good.
We're fine. It's not.
I mean, I still don't know the password to my bank account.
She
He has that with
I
him.
was going to say.
Betty's like, every time you swipe
The
the
guy
card,
could rob me blind, and I wouldn't know it.
I did read this, and I pulled this up. Pet peeves of the Enneagram types.
Yeah.
Type 8, number one pet peeve is wasting my time. And I think that is very true of me. I would say that's very true of Wally.
Yeah.
But I do respect in the sense that that's the pet peeve. Like, I don't want you wasting my time. But I believe an 8 also respects people enough to say, I'm not going to waste your time.
Oh, okay.
So when it
That's
comes
interesting.
to being sick, sometimes they see sickness as an inconvenience, and I'm not going to waste your time by me being sick. So I can muscle up, suck it up, and just come in because I don't want to waste anybody's time around me as well.
That makes sense.
Is that healthy? Probably not, because listen, our organizations are not going to fire you because you took a sick day. Like, they give them to you for that reason, right? Like, it's not like we're lying. It's not like we're trying to manipulate or do anything bad. It's meant to be there as a support to you.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I feel like our culture here at WayFM, our CEO, my boss, other people around us, they take weeks off and don't.
Yeah.
They're out of office. Like my boss tells me, hey, I'm going to be gone for a week. You won't be able to get a hold of me. If there's something emergency, please call me. But beyond that, I'm not checking email. I'm not doing any of those things. So it does create an environment around us. I think Wally isn't used to that kind of environment either. He does come from secular radio, and it is a little bit more backbiting and a little bit more sharp. Like, I don't want to go on vacation because someone might take my job while I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
That doesn't...
Not here.
No.
But I will say that from his vantage point, though, like, he walks in here and delivers 4 hours of a product on the daily. And, yeah, I think a live show is theoretically better than a best of
for sure.
show. And so for him, you know, some people can miss a day and the impact doesn't have this crazy
the
there's
significance.
not a super significant impact on a lot of people. Even though you do a great thing for a ministry, you can miss a day and kind of catch up. Whereas for him, there's no such thing as catching up on a day missed on air. And that's where I can see him having that point of view. I don't think it should stop him from taking the one sick day he's taken in the last 3 or 4 years.
Right.
But I think that I can understand his mindset in terms of this is the Wally show and he is the Wally part of that.
Yes, but I've told him this too, and I think you potties will agree with me that if you knew that Wally was sick and passing, let's say he's passing a kidney stone, okay, you as potties would be like, no, I want you to go home and like take care of yourself because we want you for the long haul, you know. But he doesn't see it that way. He sees it as he needs to be here no matter what and make it happen. And that is true, I would say, for the weeks of support drive. Like, you would have to be on your deathbed.
Yeah.
They still want you in here.
Or having a kid.
Or having a kid. Yeah, like in Gavin's situation. So I don't know if he is maturing. I don't want to say maturing. That sounds bad. But I will say this. He had to, because I still didn't believe him when he pulled out of the parking lot. I was like, you're going to do a U-turn. You're going to pull right back in. You're going to, I got you. But he FaceTimed me from his home, and he said, C-Rock, I'm here. I'm at home. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And I said, you know what? I take back everything. I am so proud of you, sir, because you let your insecurity or your pride or whatever you want to call it be first in line. But instead, he thought of others, and he thought, you know what? I don't want to be getting other people sick. And I appreciate that. I think that's to be commended. But he did say, I said, COVID is rampant here in the state we live in. We're like in the red zone. It's bad. And I told him, I said, do you have COVID? And he's like, oh, I'm sure I don't have COVID. I don't. Like he went to doctor school or something. And I said, well, I need you to take a test before you come in tomorrow. Oh, I've got a test at home. I'll just take that. Is it outdated? Is it expired? Oh, they all work the same. It doesn't matter if they're expired. It does matter, sir.
Do you know that? Like, did you go to doctor school?
No.
You understand that? Like, you know that they expire?
But common knowledge tells you, like with medicine.
I still take expired medicine. I'm
I
like, whatever. It's all chemicals. It's going to work the same.
I drank expired creamer the other day.
That is true. I don't go that far. I did throw that out.
Okay, maybe for men it's different. But speaking as a woman, you
Which
need
Wally
to check.
is not.
True. Well, some way. But you need to make sure that your COVID test is not expired. Okay, so we have this texting group that I started. It's between me, Marty, Wally's wife, and Wally, and it's called Wally's Babysitters. And I sent a text this morning to Marty. I haven't heard back yet, but I asked her, I said, please make sure that this man takes a COVID test that's not expired. So he says if he's not running a fever, then he's not.
He'll be in tomorrow, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So let me take off the Enneagram hat for just a second. I'm going to put on the pastor hat for a second.
Oh, yes, please.
Because I think this is important for people to understand that in the Bible, like the Sabbath was created for a purpose. And it's not just so your body gets rest. And I think sometimes we think that, but there's also like an emotional, spiritual thing that the Sabbath was created for. The Sabbath was created so that you could set all things aside and know that God is still ruling and reigning. And here's why this is important to work. And especially I have the struggle as an Enneagram 8. I think Wally thinks this too, because we've talked about these things of someone might take my job. That's the very reason why you need Sabbath. You need Sabbath because you are so in charge and you are ruling and reigning over all these things that you need to realize that ultimately, number one, if I step away, the universe isn't going to shut down. Like the world will continue on just fine. God is still ruling and reigning. Number two, I need to see that life is not all about me ruling and reigning, but God ruling and reigning. And it's the separation of our work, of our identity, to be able to just be set apart for a minute and just take in the fact, like, God's in control and all these things don't need me. They need God, but they don't need me. And I think that's kind of important because a lot of us in our job, in all our things, we really do begin to start believing, it's delusional, that everything revolves around us and it needs us. In fact, I had this thought a month ago. My wife and I were in Florida, and she was driving back with the kids, and I was going to fly back because we had to be home at different times. And I was so nervous that she was driving home with the kids. I'm like, oh my goodness, like, that's so dangerous. I don't have that kind of fear when I'm driving. Why? Because the control piece, but is it any more or less dangerous as she's driving? No, like it's the same sort of danger around us, but the control piece causes us anxiety. It causes us a frame of thinking. And it just helped me to say, like, God, why don't I ever worry about when I'm driving? Well, it's control, but really I should, because I could die in a car accident the same way she can. And so will I realize that you're in control of this no matter who's doing these things? And that's why we need Sabbath. We need that little bit of rest to say, God, you really have all these things in your control.
Yeah, and I will say, too, when it comes to Sundays, I know that he works on Sundays with, of course, Monday school. You know, he gets Monday school running, and he writes that down. Yeah. Well, hey, we have a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
Yeah, the Monday School podcast, we've taken those bits of Monday School and we've created an entire podcast now out of it so that you could almost have a devotional time or you could have a little time with the Lord where Wally's sharing what he learned at church, but also we've created pieces where Betty comes in and shares a scripture passage.
It's the best part of the podcast, let me just say.
Truth be told, we created this podcast just so that we are making sure Betty is in the scripture because she has to read them for the podcast.
Okay, that's rude and uncalled for, but also accurate.
You know, you did read the whole Bible, like, what, last year?
Yeah, I did. I read the whole Bible.
Yeah.
I forgot that I'd done that. Thank you, Gavin.
So little plug there. Go find Monday School Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If it's in your Apple, type in Monday School, or else you could go find it by texting Monday to 91979.
Yeah.
And we will send you a text to give you a link to that.
And so while he does that type of thing, he writes the Monday School and all that on Sundays, I don't necessarily think that's so bad because it is helping him think about what was talked about in church. But two, he checks his emails all the time.
All the time.
Does email all the time. And I get it to some degree. I think it comes from a good place because if he doesn't stay on top of that, it's going to get ahead of him. And two, there are people that email him with serious issues.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you need to get back at those in a timely manner. You know that with the prayer wall. And so I don't know where the healthy boundary is.
But I think for him too, there is a level of enjoyment to doing all of those things because
it comes from a good place.
He loves what he does, and so he loves getting the chance to do that.
He loves helping people.
And he's at a place in his life where it's not like we can say like, oh, Wally, you're just taking time away from your kids or from this or that. Like he is in the empty nester, and they do go on like vacations throughout the year. Like he's not a bad husband. It's just what he does, and it's funny because I think sometimes there's like a little bit of pressure, even like working for him, because you're like, I know I'll never be the guy who can work 70 hours a week in the way that he does. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I just don't think there has to be a healthy.
But if for him, he's good.
I think I learned from an Enneagram 8 though. Yeah. They are all in. Like when you're into a project, you are all in. When I've asked Wally for help, he is all in, even on the help he gives me, and I appreciate that about him. Like that. People get nervous around Enneagram 8s because they come off strong, but the one thing I know is they're loyal. They're going to do what they say they're going to do because they're all in to see it through to the end.
And if he asks you for help, it's not something that he's saying because he doesn't want to do it. It's something that like he would do, or he, you know, like when it comes to stuff where he's like, oh, like I want you to get involved with this because I'm involved with this. I do this. I wouldn't ask you to do. Oh yeah, it's like I wouldn't ask you to do something I wouldn't do or can't do.
Yeah, he's got a great work ethic. I just think that there needs to be, I'm not saying he needs to change that. I just think that there needs to be some kind of boundaries that he personally needs to figure out what those look like for him. And might be just a small one.
Today might have been like a step.
It's a huge
for
step.
What you're talking about.
I would say not just him. Like a lot of people need that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people.
American work
live
culture
in fear, of their jobs. And I will say, like, we have a great work environment here. And I've heard our CEO, I've heard some of our senior leaders in our organization say, like, they even will date an email because they may be working on the weekend, but because of their position, they don't want an email to go out on the weekend because of their position, they don't want anybody to feel the need like they have to answer them back or do work on the weekend. So they're like, I will date it for 7 a.m. Monday morning so it goes out. I'm just working because I have to catch up or I have stuff to do, but I don't want anybody to ever feel like you have to work on the weekends because the CEO works on the weekends.
Right.
And so I do love that, but that is hard to get over sometimes. And maybe not everybody's work culture has that, but hopefully you can be filling in like, I shouldn't feel guilt if I don't answer someone's email on a weekend. It's okay.
Yeah, I agree. And I think too, like what Gavin was saying, we're never going to get to the degree. We're both neither of us are Enneagram 8s, okay?
And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm a 9 when I can wing 8, especially when I'm around Chad or Wally. I feel like I have to wing 8. And then Gavin.
Oh, there's no way.
I think you're a 6. You have to be a 6.
Probably, whatever that is.
And I'm not. You might wing to a 5.
There's so few moments that I can even approach the 8. In my life.
Yes, exactly. But all that to say, I think one thing that differs us between the 8 is that we enjoy being home and doing nothing.
Yes.
Like, to me, a good day is watching TV or scrolling on social media and having not accomplishing one thing. That is a great day. Okay, but for him,
I could sit on a couch and watch 7 hours of golf,
for
which
him,
is something
that
no
is
one wants to do.
Horrible, a
So
horrible
good.
day. He always says he feels like he needs to accomplish something to make it a good day.
As an 8, though, I'm an extremist in that. So I go from one way to the other. So either I'm going to do 1,000 things, or like
you're going to do
I
nothing
did
so
in like
well.
April every weekend. I worked on my screen-in porch and I just built it, and
That
I
does look
worked
good.
every weekend in morning to night and got it done. But then I will go to the extreme of if I'm going to do nothing, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. Like
That's awesome.
like I'm going to lie on the couch,
Yeah.
scroll on my phone, watch a movie,
good.
whatever,
Yeah.
till 11 a.m., then eat lunch, and then start over again. Like when I go to the beach, when I finally get away from work, when I go to the beach, I want to do nothing there. Like I don't need a sightsee. I could literally
So good.
lie by the pool. I don't even want to read a book. I'm not that person. Like let's do I'll listen to maybe a podcast because that's still doing nothing.
And in
Yeah.
Wally's defense, the man does watch a lot of TikTok, which you could
Yeah.
qualify as doing nothing.
Also, I'm kind of surprised, Chad, that you even find time to have a day where you don't do anything because you've got 5 kids.
I do.
None of which are graduated from
No,
high school.
but like
They're all in the home still, and a dog,
yeah.
and chickens.
My form
And a
of doing
wife.
nothing, though, compared
That's a
to
lot
other
of work.
people, like doing nothing means I still mowed the grass and
Yeah.
stuff, but then I like laid around the rest of the afternoon.
Well, as a dad of 5 kids, Gavin is leaving here soon to take his maternity leave.
It's paternity leave.
Oh, is it paternity?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't know.
I'm a man.
I never got
his
any of
wife is getting a C-section.
Bummer.
Now, your wife, she went all natural, right?
She did.
She powered through it with all 5.
All 5.
But what advice would you give to Gavin as a soon-to-be dad
For
with
the
his
birthing
first
time?
kid? For the birthing, for just dad advice in general.
Oh,
Dad advice.
Well, I don't know. The best advice I would always give new parents is do whatever feels good for you and your family, because so many parents, especially parents of newborns and new kids,
Sure.
they have so much advice of what works for them,
Uh-huh.
and they think it will work for you. And then your parents come in and they want to tell you how, and then you read these books and they tell you how, and you feel this guilt and pressure to do it how all these things are telling you. And I
Sure.
always just tell people, do what works for you, because there's no right way.
Yeah, it feels like, especially at first, like if they're alive and breathing,
Yeah.
then you've kind of done it like as best you can.
You killed it. Yeah.
Versus-
well, wait.
Don't kill
Killed it in a good way.
Don't.
Well, and we realized, we thought we were like superstar parents because we had this baby. Our firstborn slept through the night very early on, and we're
Wow.
like, man, this is
I
easy. And then we had
Can't
our
even get my
second
dog.
baby, and we came in like, we're superstar parents.
She was a
and that
hellion.
baby cried all the time, and I'm like, goodness, we're not having any more kids because I can't take the crying anymore. We're like, what happened? What was different? How?
Yeah.
And you realize every kid is just different.
Yeah.
And so you could be really judgy towards people sometimes. You're like, look at that. But the more kids and the longer you're a parent, you become less judgy of other parents, because
man.
you're like, parenting's just hard and every kid is different. And what works for one kid doesn't work for the other. And I just feel for anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody struggling, if I see them struggling, I'm not judging. I'm more like, oh, man, I'm so sorry.
Comparison definitely.
Sorry that your life has been blessed
Yeah.
with a young life.
Where when
Yeah.
before I had kids, I'm like, man, those people are idiots. Like, do they not know how to be a parent?
Comparison is going to be tough because, like, our best friends just had their kid 3 months ago, and she's like adorable, and she sleeps through the night right now, and she's not this super big crier. She is just a really good kid. And so, having seen their experience through that, my head's like, oh, we're going to have just a brat that is
Wow.
going to whine through the night.
It could be.
And it's just going to be a monster. Or, like my thing is like, I'm hoping if they can be a calm kid, sleep through the night at a good pace. Again, whatever works. But hopefully they can sleep through the night well. And the minute that they start sleeping through the night is probably when Jasper's going to start barking at 1 a.m. in the morning again, because he's doing really well right now. He's sleeping till 4, which has been great for me. But now when I have a kid come home and just disrupt that flow.
Okay, real question, though.
Yeah.
Have you had any fear that your baby is going to be really ugly.
Oh, dude, that's the only reason. That's the only reason I want a girl is because I think boy babies are super ugly when they pop out.
Legitimately, I would tell people before we had our baby, our first kid, I'm like, at the time we had a little chihuahua who was really cute. So I was like, if you see lots of pictures of the dog and the baby together online, like that's because we're trying to hide the fact that our kid's ugly, like distracted by the cute dog.
I am kind of worried because I feel like I paid attention to that recently where I'm like, oh, look at these precious cute kids. And then every once in a while something pops up. I'm like, oh, what happened? Like that's tough.
I think people are like, no, you think your kid's cute.
Yeah.
Like all parents think their babies are cute. I'm like, really? I'm a realist. Like, and I did. One of our kids, I was like, oh my goodness, he looks like an alien. Legit alien. Like, and one of them, our first son, I was like, oh, he had a big nose, and I was like, he looks like an old man. He looks like my dad. I said it, like I just said it out loud, and then it becomes funny if you can make fun of your own kid too.
Hopefully they're cute, but if they're not, then I'll just blame it on me. Probably I can't.
Well, I wonder if
place
it'll
that at
have
Haley's
brown
feet.
hair like Haley, or will it have red hair like you?
Yeah, I mean meaning like any like Haley and her mom have talked this whole last week that they just hope that it's a girl with curly red hair.
Oh, they want a red hair.
And my eye color, which I've heard eye color doesn't really set in for a little while after they're born.
I think they're all blue, right? And they change.
Something like that. So she wants them to have my hair color and my eyes.
No offense to Gavin, but I shut that part of my life way out. It was a horrible time.
What?
Having babies.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
You don't get any sleep.
How did your wife talk you into 3 more after the second one?
I don't know.
Don't you have 5 kids? Oh, after the second one.
Yeah.
We had them all in a row, so we didn't know how bad it was until we were done.
That's what I've...
Well, and also once you get to like 2 or 3, you're like, what's one more?
Yeah.
That's what
not a
I've
big
heard.
deal.
I've heard that when you have kids, that if you do have them close together, they can grow up and be, a similar age and get to experience life together, but also you don't give yourself, you don't get to 5 years and go like, I don't want to do this again.
That was my thing though. Like once we got past 5 years, I'm like, how do people wait for 5 years and be like, let's do that again?
No.
Because after you get to 5 years and you're out of diapers, the last diaper, you feel this freedom. Like these handcuffs came off. Like we even, when our last kid got out of diapers, we left the kids at my in-laws and went to Europe on a vacation because we're like, yes, we don't have to worry. They all go to the bathroom on their own. Like they're independent.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be great. I've been sending him TikTok videos that I find of these kids having huge blowouts.
Oh, the blowout is the worst.
Yeah.
That was something I experienced.
He has a bad gag reflex.
Oh yeah. I found my COVID masks recently that I'm like, man, maybe I'll throw those on for a few diaper changes. Who cares?
Well, I guess I do know, and I found this out on TikTok. There's these little like rings that you can put in your nose that nurses wear when they have to deal with patients that might be something body, but it's covered with something strong, like what do you call those little oils? The essence,
just like a
essential oils.
Essential oils,
you were there.
Yeah. I was right. Oils, the essence. What are they called? But it's covered with that, so you can only smell like lavender or whatever. But it's clear, so your patient can't see it, and then you can wear a mask over it. Right,
and
exactly.
they're all wearing masks most of the time.
Yeah, so you may want to look into that.
To be fair, baby poop doesn't smell as bad.
Dude,
I've never had a kid, but I've worked at a daycare for 6 years, and let me tell you, there are some stinky ones.
Well, when they start eating like solid foods, but
it gets rough.
When
it gets rough
in the early days,
just going to be milk and formula.
It's pretty harmless.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, when we were at our friend's house a few weeks ago, I was holding their kid, and I'm just sitting there, and I hear you hear the, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess they're going. I'm like, how long do I, that was my question. I'm like, how long do I let her go, and then I'll go change this? And then I kind of sat there. They're like, I'll just, let her go for a few minutes, and then I sat, and then a couple seconds later, I kind of looked down, and I saw it on my shorts, and I was like, oh, it's on my shorts. She's like, and then the mom comes over. She's like, oh my gosh, that's her first blowout. I'm like, yeah, so
on
good.
You.
It's on me.
Oh, that's bad.
So I've had
congratulations. You've already been baptized with the blowout.
Yeah,
somebody
be
else's
fine.
baby.
One more question. Did you know the gender of your kids or no?
We we only found out for 2 out of the 5. The rest, 3 of them were all surprises.
Fun.
Do you like it better that way? Or no?
I like the surprise better.
It's going to be wild.
1 and 2, we did surprise, and they were both girls. So I asked my wife if we could find out for number 3 because
Just to
after
see if
2,
it was a boy.
I told her, I said, I felt like disappointed in the delivery room when we had our second girl because I really wanted a boy.
Yeah.
I said, and then I felt guilt. Like, here I have this brand new baby, but I really wanted something different. You know, like at Christmas when you're opening presents and you wanted something different, but you have to act excited because you have this. That's kind of like what you did, but then you feel guilt because it's actually a person.
That's another thing that, you know, if you're talking about like the parent guilt and what you should and are told to feel, like I really do want a girl. Like that's been in my head. I see myself being a girl dad, shocker, and being it in my head. I've said, okay, if it does pop out and it's a boy, I am not going to sit there and be like, bummer, like that's so lame, I don't want that. But I will definitely have a moment where I'm like, oh, it's not a girl.
Yeah.
But I'll be overjoyed because it's my kid. But like it's going, if it's not a girl, I will for sure have a little moment.
Well, and I think too that no matter what it is, eventually you can't imagine your life without having that first, that gender first. No?
I see it more through the eyes of you really can't do anything about it. So.
Yeah.
That's an Enneagram 8 for you.
You're stuck with it.
So rude. Well, Chad, thank you for coming. This is the only good time that we've had
The
interactions.
only good time?
Yes.
Okay.
Other times you're just getting on my nerves. But anyways, we'll see tomorrow if Wally makes it in. I don't know. It's 50-50 right now.
Yeah. What time?
I would put 75% on him coming in.
He probably could be getting to a store to get his COVID test here soon, hopefully. We'll see how he's feeling. Because sometimes, for me at least, when I feel sick, for me, the peak doesn't hit until 2 days in.
Yeah.
And so if he really just started yesterday, for me, the peak would be tomorrow. If it was me. I don't know how he handles it.
I'm just saying, if the test comes back positive, I don't want him here for sure. We don't need no COVID.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I definitely don't. Do you want to do, I think I saw that there's one birthday today.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Because we're technically doing an Aftercast, so might as well just knock out the...
No, you're right. Let me look at it. I apologize in advance. Let's see. This is, we're in August.
That's
wow.
so weird.
Okay, we've got Mason and Cole who want to wish Nathan a happy birthday.
Let's go, Nathan.
Said he's a funny, kind, bird-loving friend, and he loves the Wally show. If you had to transform into a bird for 24 hours, what bird would you be?
Oh, I just go with
What?
I just go with a fast one. Go with like hawk or eagle, because then you're actually able to do something cool.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want anything little.
I wouldn't want to be like a prey bird. Like I wouldn't want
like
to
a
be
hummingbird.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh.
You could buzz around all day.
Or a penguin. That's considered a bird,
that'd be
right?
fun.
Ostrich? No, they're
Oh,
ugly.
yeah, because they swim. That would be fun, too.
Yeah, I'd go with the penguin.
Okay,
That'd
I like
be fun. Yeah. Or flamingo.
that. You just be standing.
You just
there.
stand around.
They smell
That's
too.
That sounds great. People take
Actually,
care
that
of
does
me
sound
at a
like you.
zoo. I can just stand around.
You would be a flamingo.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah, penguins have to work too hard.
Yeah.
They're like nesting. No
They carry
thanks.
their eggs for miles.
Swimming?
Yeah.
No thanks.
Ew.
No, flamingo for sure.
It's cold.
It's too cold.
All right. Well, after all that, thanks for being a potty. Growing up in poverty has never been easy for children, but with the added challenges of the pandemic, conflict, and natural disasters, families around the world are facing an unprecedented food crisis. Unfortunately, those who are already hungry are now even more desperate. But by sponsoring a child through compassion, you can help provide life-sustaining essentials such as food and clean water. And with your compassionate support, that child can not only survive, but also flourish. You can find out how and choose a child to sponsor when you click on the compassion banner at wayfm.com.